Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. Today, we're going to be looking at this fat shaming test. I want to go over it, look at what certain institutional aspects are saying about fat acceptance. I want to look more at institutionalized fat acceptance because they talk a lot about fat phobia being institutionalized. I want to talk about how fat acceptance is institutionalized. So we're going to start looking over certain things. I want to look at course materials. Maybe the Fat Scholar will come around for those videos. But I want to start looking at this kind of stuff moving forward. So we're going to look at this quiz. I may not be able to get the results because I don't really care about the results. I'm sure they're going to say I'm a horrible fat shamer. But I just want to see the types of questions they're asking people. And I want to see, like, if they were to have people take this in a workplace setting and things like that, what that looks like. So let's all see what this looks like and react to it. Basically, I want to at least go over the questions and my thoughts on the questions. So it says fat shaming test. Fat shaming, obesity stigma, anti-fat bias, or sizeism all refer to a complex of interlinked ideas that have been broadly defined as bias or discriminatory behavior targeted at individuals because of their weight. Fat shaming has been called the last acceptable form of prejudice and discrimination. Studies show that obese individuals face much stigma in society and that this stigma may have implications for their physiological and psychological health. Are you a fat shamer? For each of the following statements, indicate your level of agreement below. Okay. Question number 1. Fat people probably see themselves as victims to avoid blaming themselves for their weight. It depends. I don't think you can say every fat person does that. So I would probably say neither, personally. Because fat people are not a group. That's where the question is wrong. It's one of the least homogenized groups of people that could ever exist. There's no such thing as fat community. It doesn't exist whatsoever. I'd say, like I said, I think there's barely even a gay community, but there really is not a fat community because you can be radically different as fat people. Like, it's just not even anything. Okay. Overweight people can be just as self-confident as others. I guess. Yeah, I guess I would agree. Obesity is usually caused by a lack of discipline and or poor eating habits. Yeah, if it's poor eating habits, yeah. I would say almost always, but people could be miseducated about it. People could have weird things going on that we're not going to discuss. And people could just be kind of lazy and choose bad things, because they taste good or whatever. It depends, or it's convenient. So I would say yes. I have excluded, ignored, or avoid making friends with people because they were overweight. No. I was almost like, yeah, I agree. No, I haven't. I don't really care. Overweight people can be just as happy with themselves as everyone else. Sure. I'll give it here just because at a certain point you start having mental health issues from the obesity. I don't trust people who are fat. I don't know. I don't just trust anybody, so I will just leave it. Gaining 15 pounds would not be that big of a deal for me. No. I would be mad. I'm not worried about becoming fat. I'm not worried about it. I already am, and then I'm dealing with it, and I know how to deal with it, so I'm fine. Fat people are probably envious of those who are not overweight. A lot are. I'm going to say agree. I'm sorry. If I were an employer, I would avoid having my business represented by an overweight person. It depends. I'm leaving it neutral. It depends on what the business is. I have teased friends or family members who are fat. Sure. Most overweight people have poor eating habits. Yep. Overweight people probably feel that they are not as good as others. I would say a lot of the time. In my view, one of the worst things that could happen to a person would be for them to become fat. Yeah. Sorry. Especially at like a high level, I would say absolutely. Especially hugely fat. Yes. It's horrible. I feel disgusted with myself when I gain weight. No. That's too far. I don't think that should be a thing. It's too much. It's too strong of an emotion. I have given unsolicited dieting or workout advice to somebody because of their body size. My mom, 100,000%. I exercise or diet specifically for the purpose of not gaining weight. I guess. Fat people are pretty much to blame for their own failures. I mean, pretty much. Not 100%, but pretty much. Yes, I would say so. In terms of weight loss, yeah, but in general, yes. You know, obesity is rarely caused by lack of willpower. I don't agree with that. I think super morbid obesity, it usually goes beyond willpower. But just obesity, I think it's kind of easy to coast and become obese, in my opinion. Weight gain most often occurs when eating is used as a form of compensation for lack of success, love, or positive attention. Most often, I don't know about that. I'll just leave it neutral. I try to avoid making friends with fat people. I don't really think about it. I'm just going to leave it. Overweight is often a result of a biological disorder. Yes, that's very true. I would say, especially very, very overweight, but I will put it here because it depends on how far gone it is. So it could just be excess calories. But again, when you get to certain levels, then yes, there is a biological issue usually, or a psychological issue. I've had a hard time taking fat people seriously. I'm just leaving that. Fat people are usually responsible for their own weight problems. I would say so. I think it's up to you to figure it out or do what works, that kind of thing. Most people would not want to date someone who is overweight. That's true. Not all. I'll put it here, but most people would. I ridicule and make fun of fat people. I will ridicule and make fun of anybody. So yes, I do. Fat people are probably embarrassed about their weight. Probably yes. Always no. I generally don't like fat people. I guess disagree. That's weird. I don't mind it if people are overweight. I mean, I don't support it, but I'm not like massively against it. I mean, you have to remember this channel is really about people who want to lose weight or people who are wanting support in that or understanding in issues that people may have within losing weight. So it's also here to dismantle the fat acceptance movement. That's a part of it too. But yes, absolutely, because that's one of the biggest barriers in society and in our culture that prevent people from getting to a healthy weight. Okay. I find it funny when others make jokes that attack fat people. I think it's funny. I like offensive humor, so it is what it is. Fat people are not sexually attractive. I'm going to leave it for me personally. It depends. It depends. It really depends. How fat? What does the person look like? It depends. So I'll say it depends. They're going to be like, you're horrible. Okay, let's see. Oh, look, they actually gave me my results. I'm shocked. Okay. I thought it was going to be like all complicated, but we'll look over the results. Okay. Personal dislike, 45%. Okay. disparaging behavior, 75%, fear of fat, 60%, derogatory beliefs, 75%, negative attitudes, 58%, total fat shaming, 63%. So if you look at me and you look at the population average, I'm the most fatphobic girly pop that could ever exist. I knew that would happen though. Could you imagine if I was like at a corporate job and they made me take this and I got this result? They'd be like, you need to go to sensitivity training for fatness or something. I don't know what they would say. Fat acceptance training. So you have 34.9%. I already kind of read these. Okay. Explanation. Okay. Imagine sharing this on your Facebook or Twitter. Who? Okay. Explanation of scales. Personal dislike measures a person's general stance towards overweight people. High scorers tend to believe that overweight people are somehow inferior and deem them unlikable because of their weight. I don't think the scale is that great because I don't feel that way. So that's weird. Disparaging behavior is the tendency to commit acts of overt and explicit fat shaming. Such behaviors may include mocking, criticizing, excluding, and or belittling, as well as other forms of discrimination against people who are overweight. They're probably like mad because I said that I would make jokes about somebody who's fat, but I would. I'm not gonna lie, I would make jokes about anybody. So it's like, I don't know, cope, I guess. But as far as like, would I just go up to a fat person and like bully them for being fat? No. So I don't think that humor is really disparaging in this way, but it is interesting that they portray it that way. But whatever. I don't think that's a fair assessment. Fear of fat measures the test taker's internalized weight bias, such as the belief that guilt and shame is associated with weight gain, and therefore that weight gain is something to be avoided. So, no, I would avoid weight gain for health reasons and maybe appearance reasons at a certain level. But I'm not afraid of gaining weight. I'm a caloric realist. I understand what causes weight gain. I have a grip on my thyroid health. I'm not afraid whatsoever. So what did they say mine was? Fear of fat. They said it was 60%. I don't fear it at all. So that should be probably 0. Derogatory beliefs refers to negative beliefs and stereotypes about fat people, such as the belief that fat people are overweight because they lack willpower. High scorers tend to believe that overweight people are to blame for their own condition, and fat shaming therefore feels justified to them. So I don't agree with fat shaming because it's not helpful. So again, I don't think that this quiz or scale is fair because, again, there's nuance to it. Just because I believe that in the vast majority of cases, people are overweight because of their choices, including lacking willpower. In some cases, not all cases, but some. Again, I think it's a little bit more complicated when we get to supermorbid obesity. There usually has to be something very seriously wrong. And I have described what was seriously wrong with me ad nauseum. And I can't really say it on here, but just for you guys who have heard it, I had a severe toxic ritualistic behavior thing around food. And so that's how I got that big. How I stayed that big or how it was difficult to lose was because of hypothyroidism, which was a result of the toxic ritualistic behavior. So one thing can lead to another. The physical side made it difficult to lose weight and keep it off. The mental side made it difficult to lose weight and keep it off. So when you have them combined, it's really difficult, and that's how you can become very, very big. There's usually a major issue if you're very big, that it does involve more than willpower. The reason I say willpower does exist is because it's true. It's much more true in the case of somebody who's 30 pounds overweight. It is drastically more true that willpower probably has much more of a factor than somebody who's 200 or 300 pounds overweight. It's very different, which again, they do not give any differentiation, any splitting of those hairs whatsoever in these quizzes, which is stupid. Negative attitudes describe the degree of negativity the test taker has about overweight people. For example, stereotyping all fat people as a group and assuming them all to be unhappy, unsatisfied, dissatisfied, or liable to assume victimhood status. Yeah, I would be 0. So I don't think that this scale is good because I don't think fat people are a monolith whatsoever, like 0%, and they gave me 58. So I don't think this test is great at all. Total fat shaming is the test taker's total inclination toward fat shaming. Higher scores indicate a more fat shaming attitude overall. In your case, there is a moderate likelihood that you are biased against overweight people. Okay. That's weird. What a weird scale. So I guess that's all of it combined. So they're like, you're moderately at risk. I don't know. I think that these categories and the questions, they're too subjective. But I find that a lot of these types of things are like this. So I guess let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I'm glad I got my results. I was not expecting to get my results. But thank you guys so much for watching. I will be back soon. I'm going to try to film something else tonight because I'm flying tomorrow. So I'm going to try. But thank you guys so much. I hope you are okay with the shorter video today. I will see you guys later. Bye.